Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals, IGP. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals, IGP. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seekers, today I am your host for the afternoon. My name is Shruti Porna Dotto. I am from Bangladesh. Dear knowledge seekers, I am proud to be associated with IGP. IGP, a pure non-profit organization, in the social and ISO certified international educational and training institute. In the last 3 years, we have already served 25 million plus knowledge seekers and 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 450 plus professions and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professionals (IGP) and ISO 9001 2015 and 10002 2018 is the training facility for skill development, which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demands in the global labor market by providing professional qualifications. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve student and community resource providing holistic and social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skill just by acquiring formal education, so we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generations all over the world. We distribute our service locally, nationally, and internationally to students, job seekers, job holders, and also for learners through respective campus location and distance learning platforms. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our mission of education isn't a business product, it's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, awards, quiz competitions, monitoring, and counseling, etc. On the other hand, we are also trying to offer more than 100 premium services for free, like creating our portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and word knowledge platform for gathering knowledge, general knowledge, which can update all day. It's learning game websites, free courses, converter sites, and many more. We help to empower youth to learn, meet their expectations and dreams, and become highly skilled people. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners by professional trainers, speakers, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth to promote the education, their abilities, and personalities. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Professionals. We believe that knowledge is love and life foundation. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and will serve them with good research and practice method. We must have a genuine concern for the learners. We present more diversity, growth, and innovation and report. To lead a session with professionalism, patience, and integrity, IGP members are committed to offering effective, best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can prove their skill levels and well. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we have already completed 1,549 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we have already completed 1,549 webinars successfully. Wow. Dear IGP speakers, participants, and well wishers, at this moment, this is a very important message for you all. Let's change and design our website www.edu.igp.com. On this website, you have surprises for everyone. Hope you will be benefited. We already launched our new website where you can find all our previous activities together with lots of new features. But one strong point is that without an account or login, you can't enjoy our services. So create your account for once with your proper information. Note that with your proper information, you will enjoy all features. Once mismatched with mismatched data, you can't do anything here. From now on, you have to participate in live quiz competitions on our website. Replace Slido. You have to join directly on our website. From now you can from now you can check all our previous webinars and verify the certificates now. It's easier and time oriented because after this session we will not provide you any code for certification. You have to take part in one exam. After that, if you passed, you will receive your certificate. Otherwise, not. But you can take part in an exam unlimited till you pass. If you were an IGP speaker, you can download all your previous certificates. Speakership certificate. If you were a host of IGP, you can download your certificate of gratitude. If you were an online quiz competitor winner, you can download your certificate of participation. If you were selected for a lifetime membership, then you can download a certificate of lifetime membership easily. Besides this, if you participated in any award function which organized combined support with IGP, you can download that also. You can instantly prepare and download 18 types of instant certificate from our website within a minute. Certificate of global professional membership, certificate of global influencer during the pandemic, certificate of active knowledge seekers, certificate of social activist during the pandemic, certificate of achievement IGP knowledge seeking campaign 2020, certificate of achievement IGP knowledge seeking campaign 2021, certificate of achievement IGP knowledge seeking campaign 2022, certificate of participation webinar series 1 authentic assessment in teaching learning. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 2 Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 3 Digital Classroom Engagement Course. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 4 The New Trends in Education. Certificates of Participation Webinar Series 5 Upskilling Organization Leadership and Managerial Skills. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 6 Trends in Innovation and Mathematics Education. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 7 Research a Comprehensive Approach. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 8 Art in Teaching Special Program in the Arts. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 9 21st Century Tools in Teaching Mathematics. Certificate of IGP Corporate Ambassador. Certificate of IGP Campus Ambassador, which you can prepare and download within a minute. From now on, you can participate in 1,000 plus international level quizzes and verified certificate. Teaching tips for teachers, health tips for parents, health tips for teens, verification tools for teachers. You can join IGP Alumni. You can check out our 50 plus premium services website for free and many more. Dear IGP well wishers, we promised previously but lack of technical issues, we are late sending you on time. This is a great opportunity to collect your previous credentials. Sort all issues from our website now. You can enroll. Reset password, everything. You can check your dashboard for all webinar details. It's a cordial request to you check all buttons and pages on our website. Surely I can say you will be benefit. Thank you. But know that without an account or login, you can't enjoy our services. At present, we are going to start our 1550 program named Visible Thinking. And our today's speaker, Ma'am Gulshan Ara. Before I hand over the stage to Ma'am, want to share a very little bit about our speaker, District Teacher Educator, District Bahawal Nagar, uh, MPhil English Applied Linguist. Now is a very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Now is a very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Ma'am, I'm fine. Now the stage is yours, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Pakistan to all of the global educators who are here joining us today. I'm Gulshan Ara from Pakistan. I hope I'm clearly audible to everyone. Can we start from the very first presentation slide? Yes, thank you. Please put the first slide first. No, this is one is the last presentation slide. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, but at first I would like to introduce what visual or visible thinking is. I hope everyone here who is joining today is quite familiar with the word, with the term visual or visible. While when we talk about visual thinking refers to some sort of thinking, some sort of imagination, which is presented in form of visual representation or visible representation. Visual thinking is exactly how it sounds, a way of thinking visually, a way of thinking through imaginations and putting those imaginations in a visible form. Organizing our thoughts improves our ability to think and communicate. And any rough idea, any rough thought can be presented to the audience in an appealing way through its visual representation. Visual thinking refers to the phenomenon of learning new information and organizing thoughts by visually processing them, also known as picture learning. We also know that what kind of learning is picture learning, and a teacher can easily teach in his classroom while he is using pictures or diagrams or drawings or paintings, some sort of like this ornaments, uh, some tools which normally students like to perform in classroom. It helps us to arrange ideas graphically in its most basic form. The meaning of visual thinking is rooted in the ability to see words as a series of pictures. So, visual thinking can be concluded in to define in a way that visual thinking can help you organize information, thoughts, and ideas better. You can arrange your thoughts, you can present your ideas in a better way, in a pictorial form, to appeal your audience in more effective and impressive way. Additionally, it stimulates creativity and encourages new perspectives also. and it also stimulate your audience, your students, to imagine out of the box, to think and to respond in a creative way. They can not only think, they can also give you another idea related to the content presented in a pictorial form in classroom. Next slide, please. Yes, this image is more than sufficient to represent what visual or visible thinking process is. At very first stage, we look at something, then we see. What is the difference between look and see? I also put this question to the audience right now, that if you are familiar with both of these terms, please write your answers in chat box, that what is the difference between look and see. So I am going to differentiate between two of these terms, that while we are looking at any object, we are just looking, not focusing, not seeing it in, and we are just only looking at in a casual way. But when we are seeing any object, we are have a deep look into it, then we are observing its parts, we are analyzing it, we are also judging how it works, what are its uses, how can it be used in another form. So when we are focusing all other aspects of anything, it is the main difference between look and see. And when we look and see, then we imagine idea. We also create some ideas in a, automatically some ideas are being generated in our mind, to represent them, to show them in pictorial form or in diagram form or any form of paintings. And we also create all these imagination, all these imaginary building in our minds. And it also, we can say that mind mapping technique we use to represent our ideas through imagination and through visible, through thinking in a visible form. And next slide, please. Please play the next slide. Yes, thank you. The visible thinking framework. There are a variety of practices and resources associated with visible thinking. First, we need to understand the goals associated with visible thinking. What are the main goals which are associated with visible or visual thinking? First one is deeper understanding of content. So visual thinking aims at understanding of the content in a deep way, not only looking at any object, not only seeing any object, but also understanding what is being represented, what is being presented in that very specific content to the audience and to the visual audience also. The people who are seeing or the people who are receiving those content, what message is being given to them, what is the perspective, what are the objectives of delivering those some specific content. So very first goal which is related to the visible thinking is deeper understanding of content. Second one is greater motivation for learning. Learning is not only reading any content, reading is not only connected with the syllabus, reading and learning is not only connected with the classroom environment and classroom content which teacher is delivering in classroom, but learning is also related to the motivational skill and motivation to do and to think critically, to create, to because the students while learning they are going to a next stage of creativity. So at some after some period the students will be able to create new ideas, they will be able to imagine and show and present their ideas in a pictorial form as well. So, teacher is not responsible for delivering content, but also at the same time he or she is also responsible to motivate them for learning. So, visible thinking is a source for motivation to students and to audience in whatever form you are delivering content. So, to engage your audience, you can present your content in pictorial form. Third goal is development of learners' thinking and learning abilities. Also, visible thinking refers to the thinking and learning abilities of learning. It also relates with the development of thinking and learning. How can they think and how can they learn from their thinking? For an example, if teacher is teaching his class about an apple, what is an apple? And while teaching about an apple, his learners, his students are imagining the word apple. They are imagining the shape of an apple if they have seen it. They are also imagining some food items which are associated with an apple, and they are also thinking about some events which have happened in their life related to an apple. They are imagining, they are continuously imagining and processing those information which teacher is delivering. And after that imagination, they are collecting some information and learning also some new content, which is a result of a teacher delivered content and their imagination, which is a combination of a new form, which we can say that this is a learning ability. Learning ability is to connect those dots which they have in their minds previously and generate new ideas from the content presented before them. So this goal is also very important while teaching or while presenting any content. Next goal is increasing learner alertness to opportunities for thinking and learning. So we can increase also learners alertness. Learners can be alert while listening, while seeing content, and while responding to their instructor. And last one is a shift in the classroom culture towards a community of enthusiastically engaged thinkers and learners. So there is a shift in the classroom culture towards a community of enthusiastically engaged thinkers. Not only just thinkers, but enthusiastically engaged learners and engaged thinkers who are continuously engaged in forming different type of activities, who are not only just listening, who are not only just seeing objects, but they at the same time they are also connecting those dots which they have in their minds, and they are connecting those ideas which they have learned before. They are connecting those ideas to the present content, and both of these, as a result of this connection, they are generating some more ideas which they can present and represent in pictorial forms, in diagram form, in painting, and in any form of content which can be visible to their audience. Next slide, please. Is visual thinking important? So this is also a very important question for being an instructor, for being an educator. We can have a look over our learnings that whether visual thinking or visual representations are important for learners or teachers as well, whether you are a student or the boss of your own organization. So think beyond the limitation and beyond the boundary of a classroom. If you are a boss of any organization, if you are a leader, if you are running a business, then visual thinking is essential for organizing your ideas and assessing all possibilities. If you are presenting content like a presenter in an organization, then what are the basic requirements, what are the essential elements which you need to know while presenting your content, what are the basic requirements. It's a common misconception that only people in the creative industries need to rely on visual thinking. We normally think that only those people need visual thinking who are working in creative industries. Only they can rely on the visual thinking skills. But in actual, visual thinking skills are really really very useful for all of the people who are not only working within the boundary of an specific organization, but also for the teacher and students in a classroom. And if you are working in another capacity for the public, you want attention, that more people may engage in the activity you are performing. So you present your content, you should present your content in an appealing way, in an engaging way, so that the your audience may be motivated to the content, and they can also take benefit from that, those very uh, specific kind of presentations, and they can generate new ideas as well. Irrespective of the industry or the role you are in, visual thinking is a highly valuable quality for a professional. Whether you are working independently or in a team, this unique approach can help you exchange ideas and engage in meaningful brainstorming sessions. So we are also well known about the word brainstorm. While the teacher use this technique in classroom, they use brainstorm. They appeal their students' attention. They catches their attention, and when they are successful, they reach at the stage when they are successful in capturing attention of their students. Then they are able to present their content. If their students are not getting their point, they are not listening, they are not attentive to their content, then there is no output for presenting any specific content in classroom. So at very first stage, this is very basic requirement for any presenter, not only for teacher, but also for any presenter. If he is presenting any content, at the very first stage, he needs to capture attention. His audience should be attentive to the content which he is delivering. And whether you are working independently, while you are working in a company, in an organization, or you are working independently, this unique approach means visual thinking approach, can help you exchange ideas and engage in meaningful brainstorming sessions. It helps you paint a clearer picture to internal and external stakeholders, therefore establishing credibility. When you are presenting in pictorial form and with the logics, with the creative mind, then your content is ultimately credible to your audience. They will not only respond, but they will believe what you are saying. Next slide, please. Now, I would like to also mention here design thinking. What the design thinking is. Designing thinking and visual thinking. These are both terminologies are quite different from one another. But to understand what visual thinking is, we need to know what is the design thinking. Uh, Design thinking having 5 elements. First one is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Later, I will define all these terms. But what the design thinking is? Design thinking is a non-linear, in iterative process that teams use to understand users, challenge assumptions. Here we can also define that user word can also be used for the audience, for the receivers. Redefine problem and create innovative solutions to prototype and test involving 5 phases. What are the 5 phases of design thinking? Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. It is most useful to tackle problems that are ill-defined or unknown. When you are going to solve any problem, if you are not familiar with the reason why this problem is being generated, why this problem is produced, then you will not be able to solve it. You will not be able to find solutions for any problem if you are not being aware of the basics or the reasons why, from where source this problem is generated. Next, design thinking is basically uh, join. Next slide, please. Is design thinking is consisted empathizing, implementation, prototype, define, ideate, and test. These six type of phases of design thinking. We can elaborate these all terminologies one by one. Next slide. With very first phase is empathize. What is empathize? Most of the people of in education are very familiar with the word empathy. Empathy and sympathy, though these two terminologies commonly we are using in classrooms or daily life, we need to differentiate between two of the terminologies. What is empathy and what is sympathy? Empathy belongs to empathize, and this is what very first stage of design thinking. Empathy, sympathy means when you are giving sympathy to someone at his some kind of problem or some kind of worry, but while you are empathizing someone, you are empathizing yourself for any person, you are placing yourself in place of another person and feeling that very pain which he is uh, processing, which he is having. If you are saying that may Allah give you health, may Allah give you, uh, may you recover from this wound or this injury, this is sympathy, this kind of sympathy. But when you empathize, when you say your feelings in an empathetic way, then you feel that pain, you feel that very uh, presence of ideas, you feel those environment in which one is presenting, in which one has generated some idea, and in what some specific environment in which one is living. You need to know what the background is, what the basic environment is, and what is he actually feeling. So develop a deeper understanding of your users, develop a deeper understanding of your audience. When you are delivering content, when you are presenting your content in a design thinking process, then you, while designing your thinking, you need to empathize what your audience need, what your audience wants, and in what way they are getting or receiving content. Second one is define. Define means clearly present what they need to know, they are going to learn. Consolidate insight and outline user problem. Define clearly what actual problem is. Third one is ideate, brainstorm creative human-centered ideas. The human-centered ideas should be presented in a or presented after brainstorming. Brainstorm, get themselves prepared, and then human-centered ideas should put into a into design any thinking, into making any thinking in an effective imagination to present it later. Fourth one is prototype, build representations of potential solutions. What are the potential solutions should be written, should be built in a representation, and it could be presented before people who are receiving that very specific idea. Test. Test is gather feedback from real or target users and implement. Finally, you need to implement those thinking ideas. Develop and launch an optimized user experience. So while you are designing anything, design thinking, you are processing through design thinking process, you have to go through with all these stages, and you need to know what from empathizing to the implementation of that uh, thinking idea. So these phases can help you how to design your thinking, how to manage your thinking, how you can imagine, and how your imagination can be put into a pictorial form, how your thinking can be presented in a form where your audience can easily understand. Not only they are listening the content, and not only they are seeing the content, but also they are generating some ideas, some new ideas they are picking, and they are also be able to present it later in a new form. Next slide, please. Suppose if you are a manager or a team leader, visual thinking becomes a survival skill in the workplace. Not only does it help you solve problems efficiently, it also makes your work more exciting and engaging. Here are some useful tools that will help you apply visual thinking skills more actively at work. Now we will discuss what are the useful tools they can help us in applying visual thinking skills. Next, first one is mind mapping. Next slide. Thank you. Mind maps or spider diagrams are useful in brainstorming sessions. That is a free flow of ideas, thoughts, and opinions. It's one of the most popular tools that encourage critical thinking. Critical thinking is very important for the learners, for the people who are listening. You and your team can even make connections by linking different ideas. What is the linking of different ideas? Linking of different ideas refers means your audience have some knowledge in their minds before you are presenting content before them. They have already known something. They are very familiar with some specific idea before they are meeting you, before they are seeing you. They are also having some unique ideas in their minds, and some ideas they are getting from your teaching. Some ideas they are receiving from your content. But at this stage, at visual representation and visual uh, learning stage, they are connecting learning ideas from their previous knowledge and also from the content you are delivering. So this connection, this link generates new ideas, new form of imagination, and new form of creativity. So this is a source, mind mapping is a source, mind mapping technique can be used, mind mapping tool can be used to design thinking. and to visualize your thinking, your thoughts in a visual form. You can either use a whiteboard or paper and pen to create mind maps. Teacher can also use whiteboards or he can use paper and pen to create mind maps. There are some outline online platforms that you can rely on as well. Teachers and educators can also use some online tools for mind mapping purpose. And in this image which I have placed it, there are 5 elements which are required for mind mapping. Means planning is very important while you are using this strategy, this tool. Planning is very necessary, collaboration is very important, creativity is needful, analyzing things is very important, and productivity should also be there. They are not only just a planning, there should be a productivity of any mind mapping technique, mind mapping activity in classroom. Everything done in classroom should be resulted in a productive way, and it can give your learners a new motivation for learning. Next, uh, except mind mapping, another technique most of the people use in classroom or in field of business, they use presentation slides. One of the most effective way to present an idea. While it helps your audience focus on the information as you take them through multiple slides to avoid any misinterpretations, it's best to keep the presentation slides clear and concise. So presentation slide is a form of visual thinking. When you think upon any idea, you put that idea in a pictorial form, in a presentation form, in a presentation slide, and then you show this slide before your audience. And after seeing and looking at those slides, your audience will be able to generate new ideas. They will be able to catch that very learning point which you are planning to present. So presentation slides, your PPTs, the PowerPoint slides are also a form of representing visual thinking. What you are visualizing, what you are designing, what you have planned in your mind, you are presenting it on a Google slide or in a PPT slide or presentation slides, and you can also use Prezi for the presentation purposes. And after seeing this presentation, your audience will be able to get those ideas which you are delivering in a form of picture, in a form of slides, in a form of presentations of drawings, and in form of paintings also. Next slide, please. Flowcharts can also be used as visual thinking tools. Another form of visual thinking, flowcharts allow you to be clear about your ideas. It minimizes miscommunication as you can draw your process in detail. This step-by-step approach not only paints a detailed picture but also helps analyze problems with greater efficacy. You can not only present idea but you can also minimize the content, you can also minimize the heavy content in a few lines or in a few diagrams which can easily be understood. You can present your content in form of graphs, you can present your content in a form of diagrams, you can also present your content in form of flow charts. So flow charts are also a form, a tool for presenting content in a visual form. And next one. Next one is painting. All of us know that painting is very common tool and common way of presenting ideas in a visual form. One of the most fascinating form of visual thinking is painting. Painting is the most favorite hobby of children in school as well. Teacher may observe that their children are using painting. They are uh, often using painting to present some imaginary thoughts. They are presenting some cartoons. They are also coloring some elements, some objects on their notebooks, and these kind of activities present these kind of actions in classroom presents their ideas, their imaginations, their visual thoughts, their thinking can be seen in form of vision. We can visualize their thinking, what they are thinking, how they think, what they observe, how they think about their parents, how they think about the nature, how they learn. So these conclusions can be made through their paintings as well. Through paint, one can express his emotions, thoughts, and ideas in visual representations. So visual thinking can be easily be presented in form of painting also. Next, next one is drawing. You all know very well what the drawing is. Another popular visible thinking strategy among people is drawing. Drawing can be in form of objects, goods, nature, and so on. Even children love to draw objects. If you will ask them to draw a fruit, draw an apple, draw a mango, they would love to draw these objects in classroom, and they will learn how can we say that drawing is a visible thinking approach, a visible thinking strategy? Through drawing, if you are giving a task to your class that, dear students, please make a mango on your notebooks, and they are drawing mango, but they are coloring it in another way. They are coloring in, they are making boxes, they are making circles, or they are not sketching it in a proper way. So many of the problems of your student you can identify. Many of the problems can be identified through their drawings. A teacher can identify what the actual problem my student is facing, in what way he is capturing, in what way he is keeping attention upon the content, and in what way he is receiving information, and in what way he is presenting this content in form of picture or in a form of drawing, and where he is having any specific problem, where he is having any specific issue which needs to be solved. If your student is making an object, for example, he is drawing a mango, but it uh, he is coloring it with the red color or blue. So that means your student is not picking the exact color of fruit. He is not picking what he is having problem. He is having problem to identify colors. So teacher can be able to identify problems if he is presenting content in a pictorial form, and he is giving chance to his students also to present their thoughts, to present their ideas in a visual form. Next, visual thinkers typically share three common characteristics. Those people who are visual thinkers, they share three characteristics. First one is organizing ideas graphically. They are able to organize their ideas graphically. They are not having content, and they are not only having heavy content, but they can present this content in form of diagram, in form of graphics, in form of pictures. So they minimize their content in a short form and present it in more appealing way. So the more and more people can be engaged and get idea in shortened time, and they can also generate some new imagination from that very presented idea. Secondly, recalling and memorizing information as images. Well, the visual thinkers are memorizing or recalling any information, any specific information. They not only recall that very specific content, but they recall that very specific image or diagram or picture. They recall the picture, and they remember, they have memorized, they can recall all of the content which was related to that very image, which was presented through that very specific image. So all of the content, all of the ideas, all of the syllabus, you can say, that was presented in classroom through an image, it can also be recalled by just showing an image. Thirdly, paying attention to number-based or physical attributes. So this one is the most important characteristics of visual thinkers, that they paying attention to number based or physical attribute. They not only present ideas in rough form, but they also pick those numbers, to pick those points which are most important, most importantly presented in this content. They are not picking the whole concept, but they also drawing, and they are also generating those very specific points, those very specific numbers, which can be used to represent ideas later also. So they, through visual thinking, they can paying attention to number based or physical attributes which can be tangible. Next, why make thinking visible? Why it is necessary to think visibly, or visualizing our thoughts? Why it is important? Why thinking can be made visible? For many students, the thinking behind answers and how other students and teachers reach conclusions is invisible. Most of the time, teacher and students are facing this issue, that most of the ideas are invisible to present. By making thinking visible, students are let into the secret of learning by seeing teachers and peers explain their thinking and reasoning. So not only you can get ideas from your students, but also you can learn that while your students are able to look into the matter, look into the content, and create some new idea. So by making thinking visible, if you are making visible your thoughts, as a result of this visible thinking, your students are getting into the secret of learning. They are uh, having a connection between their ideas and representations, and their presentation slides also. Their drawings and their thinking are jointly, and the connection between their thoughts and their drawings and their paintings, this connection makes you feel comfortable, will make you feel satisfied with your learning style, with your teaching style, and with your classroom environment also. Learning is a consequences of thinking, not something extra we take on for good measures, but something in which we must actively engage to promote our own and others' learning. So this is, I think, more than uh, sufficient to understand learning. What learning is? Learning is a consequence of thinking. Learning is ultimate consequence, ultimate result of thinking. If you are thinking, then you are learning. If you are not thinking about anything, if you are not, you are bilkul uh, stuck. You have no idea how to think about over things. You are not able to learn any new thing. You are not able to express your thoughts if you are not receiving those ideas in a imaginary form. Next, next, next slide, please. Thank you. Technology and visible thinking methods. There are a variety of resources online for educators looking to use visible thinking routines in their classrooms. Current research about visible thinking routines is prominent in the field of formal education rather than library instruction setting. So, you people, being educators and being teachers, can rely on the online learnings and online platforms. You can use technology for the purpose of presenting ideas in pictorial form. You can also use technology to represent your ideas, your imagination, your thoughts in form of pictures. And you can use visible thinking method in classroom by representing those ideas in a short form, in to the point, short and appealing form of presenting your content. Next, now we also need to know what thinking routines are. What are the thinking routines we are using in classrooms already? What makes thinking routines especially useful to teachers and students is the deliberate placement of thinking at the heart of learning. This is the most, you can say, important thing to know what thinking is, to know what the learning is, and how you can join thinking and learning together. Both of these things are uh, very important while while using thinking routines in classroom. Routine steps are easy to remember, and when teachers use a thinking routine over and over again with different content, students will internalize and thinking pattern and will be able to apply it in a variety of contexts. For example, we normally use think, pair, share as an activity in classroom. So think, pair, share can also be regarded as thinking routine. We use this technique in classroom. We also use this technique to draw some object in. We ask some time to students that draw some object and paint it or color it. So these kind of activities are thinking routines which are used in classroom while your student is performing, is processing through an activity. He is also using this technique. He is also thinking, and he is thinking through the process of his thinking. He is learning some new thing, and after that he is presenting his content in a form of picture, in form of diagram, and that very specific presented content, you are able, after seeing it, you will be able to identify what the actual issue, what the problem is, and where your students need guidance, where your students is learning in a better way, and where he really needs your attention, really needs some guidance. A thinking routine for brainstorming, organizing, and connecting ideas can give that student a valuable tool to use across subject areas. So, some ideas can be connected, some from the previous knowledge and some from the presented content, and both of the ideas, after connection of these ideas, the teacher will be able to generate some new content, and students will be able to present new idea in a new way. And not only you are teaching and your students are learning in environment of your classroom, in specific classroom, but this technique, this visual thinking technique, is giving you and your students at the same time, giving an opportunity to both of you to think beyond of beyond the limitation of your classroom. Your student can also imagine things. You can He can also think about the objects he has seen, he has observed outside of the classroom, and he can present those thinking ideas in his writings, in his presentations also. Next, finally, we have reached to the conclusion. Thinking is an integral part of learning. However, we must not forget that thinking is invisible. We must know that thinking cannot be visible. Thinking is an invisible thing. But how can you make visible your thinking? Through through using these tools, through using these techniques. If you are thinking about any tree, if you are thinking or visualizing any tree, or imagine you have imagination about some trees, and you are making picture of those trees on a paper, you're drawing those trees on picture in a pictorial form, then you are going to present your thinking in a visual form. So this is actual the visual thinking is how you visualize ideas, how you think about the objects and your surroundings, and how you absorb those informations from the objects, and how you will present those ideas in a pictorial form, in presentation style. So, what is really meant by the term visible thinking? To start with, visible thinking refers to any kind of observable representation that documents and supports the development of an individual's or group's thoughts. So, visible thinking is can be in form of some document, in form of some picture, in form of some diagram also, and it will represent that document or supports the development of an individual's or group's thoughts. Even their thoughts, questions, reasons, and reflections, mind maps, charts, and lists, diagrams, worksheets are considered visible thinking if and only if they reveal one's unfolding ideas as they think and reflect about a certain issue or topic. If you are thinking about a specific topic, if you are thinking about any specific idea, you are representing in form of charts and mind mapping, or painting or drawing, or in any other form which can be visible to other people, which can be visible to audience. So you are going through, you are processing your thinking in a visible form. That's it from my side. I'm here to answer any questions. If anyone has, please put your questions. Thank you, IGP, and thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation. which can impact our knowledge seekers. Surely, after your presentation, I hope our knowledge seekers can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seekers. Once again, thank you so much, dear sir. Sorry, dear ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for our question and answer session, which is the most which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinars. Honorable ma'am, please stay with us after a short video. We will be back with our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you can. We want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certificate and online quiz completion. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certificate and online quiz completion. Dear IGP, Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. After question answer, we have webinar certificates and online quiz completion. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topics. It will add some value to our day-by-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Ma'am, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new day. Thank you, ma'am. Take care. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the most engaging part of our webinar, which is the online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activities. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition, please follow my instruction properly. For some technical problems, we can't continue our quiz from the website. So to join our quiz, you have to go www.slido.com, and today's quiz code is 1954101. 1954101.